The third week of Advent is often attached to the theme of joy. If your Advent wreath has a pink candle on it, this is the week that you light it. On the third Sunday of Advent, we hear Isaiah talk about being anointed by God to bring good news to the oppressed and bind up the brokenhearted. And in Thessalonians, we are reminded to rejoice always, pray without ceasing, and give thanks in all circumstances. Now, on the one hand, setting aside a whole week for the theme of joy almost doesn't make sense anymore. We live in a culture that is ready to celebrate Christmas before we've even finished our Thanksgiving leftovers. Advent may once have been a season of repentance and good works, but now it often feels like a series of celebrations, one after the other. There are so many parties, parades, and pageants to attend and prepare for. Do we need to set aside a week for joy? On the other hand, though, I wonder how much folks in our culture really experience joy in this world. Novelty, yes. Happiness, certainly. Excitement, of course. But the deep joy of the Christian life is not found in the passing things that make us glad in the moment and then are quickly fading away. College football coach Lou Holtz understands how we can get distracted by fleeting things. He often told his players, "Do you want to be happy for an hour? Eat a steak. Do you want to be happy for a day? Go golfing. Do you want to be happy for a week? Go on a cruise." In his case, he wanted his players to focus on something bigger, on winning championships. But his understanding of human nature is fair, I think. There are lots of things that we can do that will make us happy for a day or an hour or even a week. But the deep and abiding joy that comes from following Jesus is not dependent on those things. We will face hardship and struggle. We will encounter loss and suffering, and we will be pushed beyond our own abilities. But to know Jesus brings us joy in both good and bad times, because we have faith in one who is beyond all this, our God who was and who is to come. And this doesn't always make sense to the people around us. Madeline L'Engle writes, "This is the irrational season, when love blooms bright and wild. If Mary had been filled with reason, there'd have been no room for the child." It may not seem reasonable to others, but our faith in what we cannot see upholds, encourages, and inspires us. Paul knew a thing or two about finding joy in the midst of suffering. And as he says, "For his sake I have suffered the loss of all things and count them as rubbish, in order that I may gain Christ and be found in him." This is the source of our joy this day and always, that Christ has claimed us as his own, and that we have been given the opportunity to know him and to follow him. Thanks be to God.